Alright, sir, so here's my Cypress framework. So it starts off with the Cypress folder. So I'll just run some scripts here and let you see how it works. First, I just got to start up the local server for the app. So it takes some time because it's a big AWS server, and basically the application runs on a big AWS database. So it takes a lot of time for this application to start. But I can manually change in the Cypress file, Cypress config file, the base URL. Right now we're trying to deploy to AWS Amplify, so that's why we have to deploy locally first, and then if it passes all the local tests, then it will deploy to prod, test, and dev. But default, we are going to localhost. So this is the app here, it's opening up. Let me now open up Cypress. So I'm just going to run the localhost open command. Usually it'll just be npx cypress open. So basically the framework is broken down into E2E folder. So all my end-to-end tests are here. They hit different modules. Here is my fixtures folder where I hold all my XPath /CSS / any dynamic key that I want to pass into the script. So this is for the dev, this is for local, this is test prod. We have generate AWS exports.js file. This actually generates the configurations for the different environments and basically allows the authentication process that I'll show. So let me see if the app is open. Close this. Alright, so the localhost has now loaded, so now I will run the scripts now. So I'm going to start with authentication login. So again, it targets localhost URL, types my login information, logs in, goes to some module called data sheets. It's just a random module that displays some data about various topics in ESG, which is environmental breaking down. So it's just going through some filters, and it's actually making sure that it renders. After it does that, it opens up another table. It opens up a sample table. It will then fetch all these cards, these card titles. So it makes sure that once I click on card view, all these cards are displayed. And so it's actually going through each card and invoking the text and then logging the title. So assets table is here. Let's go to the first table it fetched. So it fetched business travel NOAA. So basically it's just checking that all these cards have a title. So that's one very basic script. Let me try to think of something more complex. Here we have a nice test suite, so multiple it blocks within the full test case, and basically we're going to do some survey edits. We're then going to duplicate that survey, which is basically just a small feature, and then we'll delete that survey so that it's a full round of testing where we're not only testing the duplication, but then we're able to test deleting it all in the same test suite. so that when it's running through any CI/CD, it's consistent and it won't, break at all. It will functionally perform if it does pass. So right now it's just going through some survey edits. Again, this is a lot of this is test data, so it's not all all accurate and making sense. But basically, it's going through a lot of edits, and now we're gonna do the duplication. So now we just edited a certain survey. Now we're gonna go open up the survey, ground transport survey, by searching the filter. Then we're clicking a lot of widgets. We're clicking, this three dot thing to duplicate. So I know it's going very fast. That's the problem. When you have it blocks, it goes very fast. You can't see. But we'll go through the logs to show you what exactly it did. As you can see, it's going to delete this survey. So now we can go through some more. I can show you. Let's see. Let's do datasheet create records. So now we're going to be creating some records within a datasheet. So it's going to open up a datasheet. Add new record. It's going to fill out all these different forms. It's going to add the record. It's going to make sure that this checkbox, this title, was apparent in the UI. As you can see, records have been successfully created. So these are the little UI checks that Cypress can do very fast, and it's a very fast and efficient tool. I'm going through many different modules very fast and efficiently, and I'm getting more test coverage out of it. Basically, a more efficient tool, in my opinion. Than, let's say, Selenium or any other web-based tools like that. Let me see what other tests are good. Let's see, Carbon. Is Carbon good? Let's see, Carbon. Okay, so these are some other. This is actually a unique test case that we'll see. Make sure it passes, but there's some API calls being made here. So actually, sometimes not all the tests will pass because I need to update some codes, but so a lot of times I'm using XPath and Cypress, but also a lot of times I'm using CSS. It just depends on the type of element you're interacting with. So here it's typing some filters. It's going through again some filtering. So yeah, it looks like I need to fix this first test case. It's not passing. But the good thing about Cypress, it gives you a whole count here of how many of your test cases passed. So as you can see in the code, for this test case, Carbon, we can have multiple it blocks. So right now we have a describe block that describes the whole test case. It describes what environment to open up the test case in. Throw some error handling if there's some issues there, and then the main function here is that it's calling the XPath JSON file. It's configuring that based on the environment that it's set. So the good thing about JavaScript that a lot of this code looks complex, but it's very dynamic and it's very powerful when once you've set it up, there's no touching or anything you need to do. It's all there and it's all dynamic in that nature. And these shared functions are basically a part of a test file that let's see, shared function that then calls the XPath keys. So these are a bunch of static functions that will essentially fetch the right XPath key. But essentially the different if blocks here, you have one doing an API request, carbon calculations. So let's see how this test case is going. So there's a lot going on. You know, a lot of times, sometimes I don't even know what it's exactly doing because it's going so fast. But that's the beauty with Cypress, is that it can go test so many different modules at such high rate. So again, I'm going through very unique dynamic test data tables, and sometimes these interactions with these elements are not all the time 100% functional. Sometimes you will have issues with interacting with these elements, and that's why it's a matter of using the XPath, using finding the unique XPath, using a variety of different tools to actually help you, and then putting that into a JSON file for dynamic abilities. So again, here it's logging all these titles. A lot of what I do is a lot of these scripts are just going through all these filters, and then it fetches all these titles and makes sure it's there. That's the main aspect of Cypress. It's testing the UI. So we got 4 test cases that passed, 1 test case that failed. And a lot of what I do here is actually I'm passing a random variable here. So when I'm creating these surveys in such mass quantity, I want to check now, after I create this survey, does it now appear on the UI? And in order to do that, I have to pass a random variable, and then it will actually check for that random variable. So here it's actually downloading an Excel file, and then making sure that Excel file is within my my local directory here. So it looks like we had second test case fail. So failures are all about automation. They're going to happen. It's going to happen all the time. Just it's about maintaining it, and now we can go in and I'll fix these tests. These issues. The beauty about Cypress, it tells you exactly where the issue is. It tells you on line 518 I have an issue where, let's see, this element is not visible because its ancestor has position fixed CSS property and is overflowed by other elements. How about scrolling? So this is actually very unique. I've never seen this. It's actually giving some suggestions, because usually it'll just say some error, vague error. So now it's up to us to now determine, okay, I'm using CSS, maybe I need to change to XPath. So those are the little things you will have to change and update, and sometimes it will pass, and then other days, like now, it'll fail. But eventually you get to the point where everything does pass, and Cypress is reliable. It's very reliable. Let me do some complex one more test case, because I would like to show you the very powerful nature that Cypress has. believe this one is the one. But basically, we're going to get into some calculations, some large data calculations and how that renders on the UI. So right here, we're actually doing the total commission for scope 1. So as you can see, it opens up this table, and now it's fetching everything in total emissions. This column here, total emissions. As you can see, it's fetching all these values here, 0.2, 3.2, 3.2, all these data tables. It's fetching it, and it's making sure that it actually matches the UI here, up here. So it looks like we had a fail. It expected this to be close to this, and actually I have a, looks like I have a dot only somewhere. So this is emission calculations. So if I want to run just one it block, I will put a dot only here. But it looks like I did that because this is the one that's having some errors. So let me run all of the tests. So let's run all the tests here. So you can see I'm interacting with very unique, elements like calendar, and actually this might fail. This is one of the issues where I need to come up with a dynamic approach to now select the most current date, right? If I put the old date, then that calendar is not going to show this month. And so there's issues where as a tester this will always occur, and now I need to fix all these issues that I'm seeing. So a lot of times you're rerunning your test, you're looking at how it's reacting on the UI here, on this Cypress UI, and for whatever reason this should be bigger. This viewport for end-to-end testing. I wonder if I make that viewport bigger, will it actually, because I have a new monitor that's very big here, but I'll do that later. Okay. So again, we're doing large calculations here. Total emission for scope 1. So like I said, it fetched all the values in scope 1, and then you see this total here. It should equal this total. So it's checking that. So it's actually giving a error margin of 0.3 just in case, but it looks like looks like these calculations are off. So we need to see what the error was. So it looks like it's another calculation error. As you can see, these are very large numbers, so I'll have to analyze this in a lower. 49611.8. It's off by at least, it's off by a couple, like 40. It's only off by around 40. 13316. How is it only off by 40? That's, wow. Okay, so it's frustrating, but see, now this one's passing, but you just have to keep trying. Keep trying. So this one didn't pass. We had two that didn't pass. Which one did not pass? So this one did not pass. Why did not? Again, this one is off by 40. How can both be off? Oh, this was the, okay. So again, thank you for watching, and yeah, talk soon.